great way to play it. Or maybe it's actually terrible. Doesn't matter, because we're not going to be seeing it in this matchup. We're going to be starting down here on top of the red Protoss player who likes to play it a lot more by the book. He is big, but also he's on team big. It's ShoWTimE. Actually had to get a larger camera that was further back because his muscles took up the entire camera when we tried to put him in a normal position.
And at the top left-hand side, he is 60% liquid, but he's also in Team Liquid. It is Clem. I think human beings are 60% water, right? Maybe more than 60%.
I actually think it's like 80 or something, 80 or 85. Yeah.
It's high at least. Well, at least 60. Oh, quick block here.
Oh, it's 60. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Today I learned math on stream with follow cats.
I'm not sure that's much math. I just knew the number 60.
Okay.
No processing
Biology
required.
on stream.
Oh man, I hate this. Ugh. As a Protoss player, when I have to put my Nexus somewhere else, Ravi, I feel so bad. And if you're...
Yeah, 1 Phoenix remaining, 0 Phoenix remaining. Shield battery overcharge was immediately popped at the very beginning of all of this. Looks like that 4th base is most certainly not going to be going up during the middle of this fight.
Yeah, huge EMP landing onto everything. Both Colossi barely surviving. Now just 1 remains. And this is not going to connect. The Disruptor shot that is. I don't know if I ever see Disruptor shots connect against Clem, though. He just seems to be like the absolute best at splitting against them.
He is incredible at dodging those Disruptor shots, but I think it's still important to have. It's a nice way to also push back the Ghosts, especially, and kind of pick them off from a nice distance away, since the Colossus can't really do it quite as well when there's this many Vikings in the air.
Yeah, there is just so many. And Clem has to be trying to look to get position where he's gonna maybe catch those Colossi in the corners. Like if he can siege the Vikings near those rocks, that would be a very, very good position to make it difficult for those Colossi to join the rest of his army. He's looking for some rocks and some angles here to where the Vikings can be in this kind of neutral area where there's no real ground to stand below them. And it looks like Clem wants to commit. It's so difficult though. Those Ghosts, they can't split as well as Marines.
Yeah, they do take a little bit longer without stim or anything available to them. Now, the Disruptors, I mean, they are just zoning out this army. I think there should be one more Disruptor shot available. ShoWTimE going to be losing his last Colossus to those Vikings, but the Viking camp has also been obliterated, so maybe something that ShoWTimE, after these next 2 Disruptors pop, can start thinking about remaking, but may just want to actually continue committing to this.
Yeah, it looks like he might want to indeed. I mean, there's still some EMPs to be dropped onto those Archons. Luckily, somehow, all of the army of ShoWTimE got EMP'd except for the 2 Archons.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of catching a lucky break there. I guess the back didn't get EMP'd very much, and now there's going to be enhanced shockwaves finishing up for Clem.
Yeah, the one nice thing actually that sometimes gets overlooked when you talk about Disruptors and their value to the army for the Protoss is that you can get EMP'd and the Disruptors force your opponent's army, like large chunks of it, to basically just retreat or not attack. So you can get like a massive EMP landed on you, and then you kind of use the Disruptor as like this time buying mechanism to say like, no, back up. We're not fighting yet. I'm going to get some time to recharge my shields.
Yeah, and good Disruptor shots here from ShoWTimE, but beautiful pickups to save some units from Clem. Really heads-up play, and I'm completely with you, Ravi. The Disruptors don't necessarily have to land for them to be useful in other ways, though obviously you want to land some in order to get, to get enough value to justify them. But there is hidden value here and there in that they split the army up, and when the army is split as well, they do less DPS, right? Because there's less less army in certain areas. This is a huge doom drop on the side of Clem, but he's going to find a base before he hits the main.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if he's going to actually get to the base, because all the Stalkers are already here to intercept him. A blink back to keep these Stalkers alive while the Zealots charge on forward. And as the Disruptor army approaches, I think that Clem is going to have to try and respect this. But, ShoWTimE actually sees some of the army moving on the north side. He decides to abandon that base, cancels that to deal with this army on the north. Wow. But now the Doom drop into the main, is he going to have enough over here in the main to prepare for this?
Yeah, it's beautiful the way that ShoWTimE was set up, because he already had charge slots charging into the first units and loading out of those medevacs, and he had a hefty number, so that was beautiful. He gets a really strong start to that fight. good moves by Clem trying to split ShoWTimE in half by going to the two most far removed bases from each other, right? Like he's hitting the extreme so that it's difficult for ShoWTimE to react, but ShoWTimE has been brilliant on defense.
Absolutely, and he's also able to deflect this attack yet again, or at least push it back for now. And I feel like Clem, he's a momentum-based player. He wants the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 punches all back-to-back. Not a lot of breathing room for his opponent. That is when Clem really hits his stride. And I feel like ShoWTimE is doing such a great job as the wall, deflecting a lot of these attacks, not just outright dying to these. And I feel like Clem is going to gradually start running out of steam. You can already see, like, just not having medevacs, for example, in the army, he's not really getting the time he needs to re-heal this army back up. It's slowing the pacing down.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Not enough medevacs remain on the side of Clem to continue to be as aggressive as he has been, but he is such an amazing player. I mean, the guy already has 4 bases well saturated, and he is also working towards the max upgrades, essentially. So he's not falling behind on most grounds. He's at 2-2, nearly maxed. This is still very much anyone's game. But yeah, it really feels like ShoWTimE has put up such a great defense so far.
Yeah, I think like a good way to put it is that I feel like most other Protoss players would have paid to this thing from Clem. Like it's impressive to get to this point versus Clem. It doesn't mean you've won the game, but like, holy cow, you made it over the first hurdles.
Yeah, wow, you blocked a lot of punches, my friend. Good job. Yeah. Let's see if you can continue to do so, and then eventually maybe hit back with a defining punch yourself. This is a lot of disruptors, many of them moving into liberation zones, into a widespread army from Clem, who gets a fantastic engagement. There are probes and SCVs falling as well, as there is a counterattack going on for ShoWTimE, but really, it's about this army.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of DTs. They're going to be able to do damage very quickly, but like you said, Cats, this is where everything is going to come down to. It's going to come down to this army that's going to have to go with these disruptor zones. Are you kidding me? Clem, are you human? Are you in Archon mode? Did you pair up with Rainer? How on earth did you manage that? What the actual hell just happened, Cats?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, ShoWTimE doing a great job at the same time with these DTs, and even just throwing those disruptor shots was a masterclass in doing exactly that. Multiple disruptor shots at the same time onto a clump. That is not a mistake. He's just accounting for Clem potentially picking up disruptors to stop the shots otherwise. And it looks like ShoWTimE is kind of stabilizing. I look at the supply, Ravi, and it's not so bad.
Yeah, I mean, you see that ShoWTimE is up 73 workers to 39. That is something to keep in mind, because remember, ShoWTimE did lose some of the mining bases, and he's remaking another base right now. But if ShoWTimE is given even just 60 seconds, that worker differential is really going to start paying dividends, and he just has to survive a little bit longer, and then Clem is going to start falling further and further behind.
Yes, indeed. This is such a great job and a great game so far from ShoWTimE. If we look at our army values, they're nearly matched. I think ShoWTimE is a little bit ahead even. Yeah, now he's well ahead, in fact. And economically, I think he's also taking a lead. If he can not take damage from this next 1 or 2 waves that Clem's going to throw at him, he will be in a winning position.
Absolutely. Oh, man, Phoenix getting started back up is actually a great response to like Liberator harassment. I really like that. Oh, a lot of disruptors over here on the closest side to the army, but they are just going to end up finding some really nice pickups with the Stalkers. Get every single one of the medevacs. Liberator sieges up and is going to be able to at least buy a bit of time, but EMP comes out, sniping off some of the DTs. Clem is really running dry on the ability to try and keep up with ShoWTimE's economy right now. He has to get something done soon.
Yes, indeed. Clem is on a ticking clock, not something that is a regular thing for him. I think he's used to being in control, and I feel like he's not right now. I feel like ShoWTimE kind of has this game well within his grasp. He's still trying to make do with these Dark Templars, and that's exactly what he needs to do. You don't relax right now. You pile on this pressure. Be careful, though, going down with the Stalkers. At the same time, the DTs are really doing the real damage, or never mind. They didn't do anything against this Planetary Fortress, and I think they even got taken down, not being paid attention to.
Yeah, you have to be really careful with them. I mean, DTs can do a lot, Cats, but there are a few things that they'll struggle against sometimes. Now, I think just those 3 DTs, it's still enough to put some nice pressure on, maybe over like that 3rd base location or 4th base, but disruptor shots coming out, taking a massive chunk of the army and still have more coming out.
Yeah, that was such a huge one. Maybe Clem could have picked up some of those units up just because it's so difficult to split. You can't really split the ghosts as fast as you can the rest of your army. So really good disruptor shot from ShoWTimE. And I completely agree, Ravi. If he can actually... Oh, he will. He found it. He found it.
Yes. All right. Get in on top of that missile turret. All right, you know, okay, I can get on board the blink forward. The army's far enough out of position that he knows he has time to actually react, to get the DTs out of it. He's going to leave one back over here to force a scan and a reaction of maybe a missile turret or something. And the other DTs can just retreat and look for other places to do damage.
Yeah, and look at that. An EMP clears it. So ShoWTimE very smartly shoves one more DT and says, okay, well, keep doing that then. You know, like, or you have to scan, you have to make missile turrets. You can't just... And extra annoying as he hits on the other side. And now he's like, hey, who's out multitasking? Who?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these Zelts are going to be going down over here, but the disruptors are there as that anchor to fall back to. And the DTs saying, all right, you tried to land that base. No, 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 you don't get to do that just right now. And you can just see the back and forth that Clem is being pulled from. And he's tried to get some damage done. We haven't quite caught as many glimpses of it, but like there's been Liberators running on and there's been Medevac drops and stuff, but it's never ended up working out.
ShoWTimE has played such a brilliant game of StarCraft here, really looking like, you know, like on Clem's caliber at the very least. It's exactly above, actually, as far as this game is concerned. ShoWTimE has just played an impressive game of StarCraft, and GG will be...
I don't know. I think it's just like an old proverb-ish kind of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, but that's pretty much what we got going here. So let's see. I mean, I imagine Clem is gonna somehow manage to punch back here. We're getting some other results there from this on the screen as Kung Fu Banda went up 2-0 against Aquaron, which I would say Aquaron is the player in that group that's maybe expected to lose to most. He could upset someone, but yeah, pretty cool for Kung Fu, so cementing his position.
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely always a treat to see some of those younger, up-and-coming European talents that have been around for a little bit, but now starting to find better and better results. Like, always a pleasure to see that. I also just want to say, like, you know, pretty cool. DreamHack has been experimenting, and of course, if you're on YouTube, you'll have no idea what we're talking about, but pretty cool. We've been seeing, like, these polls and stuff coming on up. Be sure to vote in those. It's always good to see a little bit of that viewer engagement, you know? Casters get to make their predictions about who's going to win. That's your chance. That's your chance to voice and say, yeah, you know what? I was right. I called it.
Yeah, my favorite was the one who knows more, Cyril or the Twitch chat. That was great. I'm not actually sure who won that poll. I was curious. But that's the only way that those Cyclones would have been saved. I thought those Cyclones are just doomed, but now with the army of Clem here, it's getting pretty scary, and ShoWTimE choosing not to contest. There is a shield battery to retreat to, another one being added. This is going to be a tough hold, though.
Yeah, I think that Siege Tank can actually hit that newly being made shield battery, but it gets taken out by the Bioforce anyways. One pylon left over. That might be the last pylon as well. Colossus gets taken out. It gets a little bit misrallied on in.
Yeah, I mean, hard to call it a misrally because he's blocked off from walking down from his main.
True.
So it's all he could do was do that, but maybe he could have kept his army on that side to escort it, essentially. Instead, he was trying to go to the side like he is trying right now so that he can hit the bio without getting hit by the tanks as harshly. But it's looking very, very difficult for ShoWTimE. Now going for it, going after all the tanks, but the Phoenixes get focused fire down, and Clem it's not easy to apply pressure from the aggressive gases because of the minerals, so it's a little bit sketchy. Spawning in the bottom left, right-hand side, it is Big's ShoWTimE.
And up in the top left-hand side of the map, we have the blue Terran player. It is Team Liquid's Clem. A young lad who is very much so grown into his position in the StarCraft scene as one of those big, hopeful, non-Korean players. Both, I think, I'm hoping actually, not only figuratively, but also literally, because I remember it was always funny seeing Clem, this kid who looked like he was actually even younger than he really was. Because I think, you know, we got to see him like so early on. I feel like by the time we finally finish up COVID, somehow Clem is going to have gone through his massive growth spurt, and he's going to be like 7 foot tall. We're just hardly going to recognize him. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. a mustache. They'll probably have at some point. Look forward.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you know, just have to hope that like the couple of months leading up to the first non-COVID event, that will actually just, we won't have him on camera for a bit. He's gonna show up. He's gonna have a super deep voice. We're gonna be like, "You're not actually Clem." Then he's gonna start playing, and we're like, "Oh my God, you are Clem."
And he's in Team Liquid sponsored by Marvel, so he could just wear a mask to stage, and then he removes it, and he has a mustache.
I like it. I like it. Well, we do have a little bit of a deviation over here. We got a proxy pylon with that Cybercore finishing on up. ShoWTimE looking to add something on, and with this location, it could be a couple of things. There's going to be Stargate, looks like.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. I'm not sure that this, I mean, this does cut the distance a little bit, but not like super significantly. So I'm not sure what the point of this Stargate is. Maybe to confuse Clem potentially if he was to get a Reaper in to scout, or maybe later a scan. I'm not sure.
You know, that's actually also a good point. That I don't think we've seen a Reaper this series. Yeah, I guess a little bit of a move away from that and just opting to go for more Marines, which I guess does add into like better aggression in the kind of the mid-game stage. But regardless, Marines are also going to be nice for helping deal with that first Oracle, if having a few more of those instead of an early Reaper. So first Oracle gets started on up. We'll see what ShoWTimE can get done. I love the poking forward also of the Stalker. You know, if there's no Reaper, then you can just get aggressive with that Stalker. Poke away at the hit points of those Marines. Try and get free damage.
Yeah, very cool dance here by both players, right? The Stalker is kind of baiting Clem down the ramp. The Stalker can shoot before the Marines can shoot because he has more range. So if he's paying attention, he does this and gets away with basically free damage. However, with these Hellions, they're going to be able to track down the Stalker and potentially push him away as Clem wants to move out on the map, seemingly.
Oh, he wants to body block him.
Oh, what a guy.
Oh, look at that.
Close. He almost had
God.
it.
Oh, but that also means that all of these units are very out of position for the Oracle that comes on it. There's 0 units here and not even a reaction from Clem. He's actually just so busy microing his units.
Yeah, I mean, Oracles against Terran, they are known to not be as strong at mineral lines for the simple reason that they take 3 shots to kill SCVs compared to drones and probes where they just take the 2 shots. So he manages to get max damage, which in this case is going to be 8 SCVs, ShoWTimE that is. And now all he has to do on the other side is defend. There is no shield battery, however.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the full wall is just a little bit too hard to actually deal with. And now that the warp gate is finished up, he can get that first warp in of units. He is in such a great position economically for sure. All he has to do is make sure that he doesn't take a whole lot of damage against the first and second wave of aggression here from Clem, and I think he's good.
It's so difficult. Look at Clem also has made effectively a wall of for those tanks. So the Zealots, the Chargelots are not really going to be able to get on top of them at all. The Blink Stalkers try to get there, and 2 tanks will end up falling, but that's not nearly enough.
Oh, that's going to be brutal. We see a couple more gateways coming on up over here for ShoWTimE, but he is on borrowed time right now because he's already got his mineral line somewhat sieged over here by these Marines, by these bunkers. 2 more siege tanks moving forward. Ironically, cannot get through the wall of bunkers, so they are going to be stuck there, but they're still in the safe spot.
Yeah, those Marines can, of course, get through the wall of bunkers as they can just, load on one side and exit out the other. This Nexus will finally be taken down by the looks of it. ShoWTimE does have, however, Ravi, very many gateways available, so he will have a big attempt at some point at breaking this. If he can pick off those Banshees, they would be instrumental for his defense.
Ooh. That's 1 Banshee down and softens up a second one. There are still SCVs over here with the push that are ready and waiting to repair those units.
Very interesting counterattack from ShoWTimE here. If he can kill all the SCVs at that natural and or cut reinforcements, he could equalize things.
Yeah, and these Zealots are going to actually go unnoticed for quite a bit of time. The siege tank actually just splash damages a lot of the SCVs as well, but the Marines up on the high ground do rally out and are going to be able to minimize those losses. Clem falls behind about 10 workers, but funny enough, ShoWTimE, he's been able to keep that 3rd base alive. He is still mining from it. It's still 2 base versus 2.
Yeah, because at some point, Clem is going to have to get rid of one of those bunkers if he wants to really effectively siege that base, right? Like with those tanks. So that is buying Clem a lot of time. However, if you do get rid of one of those bunkers, then it's free reign for the Zealots to kind of try to break you from there. So I would love to see ShoWTimE continue to cut reinforcements and then just squash this army from every which way. It's so difficult though, because as soon as he moves his army out to go for the flank, which is exactly what he's doing now, he's open to the small squads of units to trade effectively. So he's gonna use the overcharge, which is a brilliant maneuver here to hold on with a smaller number of units.
Yeah, I really like that. I also wouldn't mind if you had taken 2 workers and just mined out some of those minerals to cut down on the amount of distance he has to travel around to try and actually get in from the other side of the
He's going for another counterattack. This is the big one actually on the side of ShoWTimE. He's going into a ramp though. I don't like this. I would have much rather ShoWTimE just flank the army of Clem and come from all places to break down this contain. The bunkers look scary, but he has so very much. And if he comes from behind, he's going to have access to those tanks as well. I think that was the better call from ShoWTimE. But instead, he's going to run into a very fortified position from Clem and just brilliant positioning from the Frenchman.
I think ShoWTimE can still do it though. I still think that he has the opportunity to try and come in from behind and shut down this contain. He's got enough army to deal with just the 4 Marines poking forward, and here he goes.
Good split on the Zealots, not to all go towards the same tank, and now it looks like ShoWTimE is gonna get apps around so many of these bunkers with the Zealots, and he's gonna be able to clear this army out. Clem not reacting fast enough to get reinforcements across the map in a timely fashion to deal with this, so he's effectively just gonna lose half of his army here and his bunker contained.
Yeah, and a nice reminder too, as we see 8 workers going down, it's not because of counterattack on the other side of the map, even though the Oracle was poking around earlier. It was the fact that there were actually a lot of SCVs that were pulled for that attack. It was deceptive that Clem was actually even further ahead than he really was, but still maintaining a worker lead. ShoWTimE still has to do something more here.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be extremely difficult. At this point, Clem has recognized that he did enough damage and he has been on a defensive position for a while. Now ShoWTimE trying to do whatever he can with this Oracle, but he's going up against a triple orbital command whilst he has just now started rebuilding his third.
Yeah, it's not looking great for him, and it's also just the fact that he doesn't have that much tech. He's getting the Temple Archives now, and that's all well and good. He's eventually going to have Storm. He's eventually going to have some Archons and everything added in, but he's just really going to be feeling far behind in terms of his options to try and come back outside of, I have a lot of Zealots in Stalkers on +1 weapon upgrades. That's it. That's his entire game plan right now.
Yeah, this Storm is going to have to come in huge and turn an engagement around for him to even start evening things out. But Clem is kind of getting out of control right now, and he's going for a 4th base as well. So he's, I imagine, going to be aggressive pretty soon whilst expanding. So even if, the thing that we've said a couple of times throughout the day, even if he doesn't kill ShoWTimE with his next wave of aggression, he's going to be in a good position.
Yeah. Well, ShoWTimE comes in with yet another Oracle, snags 1 worker kill, forces a stim up, and just a bit of a reaction there from Clem, but not going to be able to buy too much more time there since, these 4 High Templars, they're moving forward and they're about to get Storm.
Yeah, if he can get to one of those bushes, and oh no, the Marine's going to spot them. That is so sad. I don't know if Clem was paying attention, but I think those High Templars in the bushes, that was probably just about, one of his better shots, though there are medevacs to spot for them as well. They usually lag a little bit behind.
ShoWTimE's going to find Clem in an awkward spot because a lot of his armies on the map, and the siege tank count's a little too high. I think even finding the army out of position, it's not going to be enough to break him.
Yeah, I mean, you break this, but by the time the army comes back, you've already gotten your army taxed so hard by 6 siege tanks that it's not worth to engage at that point. So I think the best shot of ShoWTimE is, or would have been, to land those storms before the reveal of them. Like when you reveal a very important ability like Storm or like Blink, it's when your opponent's not expecting it yet, not accounting for it yet. And that's when you can land the stronger ones. But that 1 Marine scouting it from Clem, he's not going to push out against Storm. Instead, he's just going to secure his 4th, and things continue to look good for him.
Yeah, a couple of force fields being used over here because ShoWTimE does not want to fight that just yet. Not until he has all of his High Templars here. But a lot of the siege tanks are not actually sieged up. Oh, ShoWTimE, he's going to still feel like he has to back off, though. And these storms mostly hitting his own Zealots rather than his opponent's army. Going to miss the opportunity that maybe he had, but even that was going to be dicey.
Yeah, I mean, Clem just, masterful at just showing off 3-4 units to go and hunt for those Templars so that the Zealots have to turn around in order to just protect them. An EMP goes off, I believe, to pick off an observer. And then a scan for good measure. Good blink forward from ShoWTimE onto small clumps of the army and the storms to kind of zone out at the choke. If he can do this, you know, for long enough, he could stabilize.
Yeah, it's worth noting also that the location of his fourth base is very well protected on the far south side, knowing that the entire army is up over here on the north. So I like that ShoWTimE is able to buy so much time around these choke points. I actually think that is going to be favoring him. Like, the longer this goes on, the more ShoWTimE is going to be able to stabilize and get up the other units he needs. He is starting up a robotics bay as well to get up, I assume, disruptors, maybe Colossus to help deal with these ghosts.
Yes, indeed. The ghosts are going to be looking for those blanket EMPs. However, as Clem gets closer and closer towards ShoWTimE, one Templar will die very quick death there, but the stasis trap will stall a little bit as ShoWTimE is forced to recall just in order to get his army in position. The tanks are on siege. This might be go time for ShoWTimE, and it might just go for it. Okay, he's not going for it. Oh, very good feedback, so no EMPs go down. There's still 1 or 2 storms available, but the really scary thing, Ravi, is this tank backbone. Oh, wow.
Yeah, one ghost has enough energy for a snipe. It also still has enough energy to go for another EMP if it finds it. He goes for it, hits the Archons, doesn't quite hit the High Templars, but I think this position is so brutal still. ShoWTimE tries to go for a 4 Zealot, 2 Stalker run by over at the 4th base, but a Planetary Fortress is going to hard shut that down.
It sure is. I mean, ShoWTimE at this point maybe mine some of those minerals just so that you can more easily access a flank onto this position. Because, yeah, those ones. Because right now, just coming from one single area or even from a decent concave is going to be too difficult. And now with Liberators, that's going to enable Clem to continue to push on forward. Good storms onto the bio and then to save the Templars as well, but not enough. Yeah. And Clem is going to close it 2-1. What a great series.
What a